So hey guys, believe it or not, I just went ahead and purchased yet another smartphone. And here it is. I just got the Moto G100. According to them, it's the most powerful Moto G ever. Yeah, so I'm not sure how many Moto Gs I tested out before, but including this, I think it's one. I'm just really quickly gonna show you what it comes with in the box. The box is kind of average. It's, normal box. I don't pay attention to these things, to the boxes and stuff. So you got this little thing with the booklets and the SIM tray ejection tool right here. You get a charger. This is rare these days, but you still get it here. What this is, it's a 20-watt charger. It says right here 2.5 of a no. This cable, I'm gonna take this out. It's not a type C to type C, it's a type A to type C, right? So as a head-to-head comparison between the Moto G100 and the Zenfone 8 right here, there are certain categories that really interest me in smartphones whenever I buy them. I'm always trying to buy those hidden gems, right? And the Moto G100 is a hidden gem. For the 400 euros price that I just paid for it, I got my receipts right here. This is a very good device. It's got pretty much everything you might want in a device. If you're not looking for the bells and whistles with the likes of an iPhone or the S21 Ultra or whatever, right? But these are pretty much the two devices you can have to go on very high on the food chain, right? These days. But let me tell you a few things about it first before I go into making a comparison between these two. It's a great device. It doesn't have any screen protection. It just comes with this case in the box. This case is very bad. It's poor quality, very soft material. You might want to use this only until such time you can get a better one. But now let's do a little bit of comparison between the Asus Zenfone 8 and the Moto G100. First of all, let me talk about the build quality. This is something that is not very important to me. It's basically the least important factor when I'm buying a new smartphone, especially when you're dealing with such exotic smartphones that offer a lot of value for very low prices. So, number one is the camera. What I noticed about these two devices is that the cameras are equally average. So I would give 1 point to each one of them for being average. Again, you're not going to get any wow factor from these cameras. They're even more than usable. They're very decent cameras, don't get me wrong, but they're average. They're not like you would go on with a Google Pixel and take photos at night and be like, whoa, this is so nice, it's so much light, when there's actually no light around. The only difference in the camera department would be that the Moto G100 has the two front-facing cameras over there, one for wide angle and one for normal. I didn't notice a huge difference in quality between the Zenfone 8 and this one whenever you're taking selfies, but I'm not a selfie guy myself, so I wouldn't know what to tell you about this other than they're both equally average. And then on the back, the Moto comes with the 4-camera setup. The Zenfone 8 comes with the 2 cameras, only wide angle and normal, and this has wide angle, normal, and the macro, and one other for something else. Again, just as in the case of the front-facing cameras, they're decent, they're nice, but they're nothing to write home about. You wouldn't write home about some smartphone cameras. In the camera department, I would call this a tie between these two. I would give them both each 1 point. But then again, the G100 has more cameras. If you want, you can just give the G100 the point here, but I'll just call it even. Then we have the fingerprint department, fingerprint sensor, and other, facial recognition, whatever. The facial recognition is not the case here. Unless you're talking about an iPhone, it is not the case in any Android device, right? That's not something you can use. It's not something secure. It's not even good at nighttime. It makes no sense, and kind of lying to ourselves about this stuff that, oh yeah, well, I have an Android device that has facial recognition that's very good. It looks very good, but then it works with a picture of you, and then it doesn't work in the nighttime, just like an iPhone would. So I'm only going to talk about fingerprint sensor. The Asus Zenfone 8 has a very crappy fingerprint sensor. It's under the screen on the front right here. I showcased this before in my previous videos, and I still have a lot of beef with it. We just had another system update, and it's not good. I had about 6 or 7 system updates on the Asus Zenfone 8 ever since I got it about a month ago, and it's still not good. On the G100, obviously it's much better. It's not under the screen. It's right here on the side, and I turn it on, it just works. It's like not even 1 millisecond. It's really fast. I can't really tell exactly how long it takes, but it's really fast. As opposed to the Zenfone 8, where every time I put my finger in it, sometimes it doesn't recognize it, and if it does recognize it, it's gonna take a long time. The lock is gonna keep on, blinking over there, and it's very annoying. So I'm gonna give the fingerprint sensor to the Moto G100. Now we got a score of 2-1 for Moto G100. The display. This is an IPS panel. This is an AMOLED. This is 90 Hz. This is 120 Hz. No questions asked. The Zenfone 8 is the better phone here. The display wise, we give it to the Asus. We don't even have to talk about it. You can see it in this crappy camera that I'm using to film right now. The blacks are blacks and in the Zenfone, and the blacks are not blacks here in the IPS panel. It's not a bad panel on the Moto by any stretch of the imagination. It's very good, very nice, but it's just not AMOLED, right? It's just not 120 Hz. It is what it is. So we're gonna give this to the Asus. We got 2-all on the scoreline now. In the CPU department, I would call them equal, right? This is what they call these days the Snapdragon 865 Plus, but it's the 875, obviously. It is what it is. It's the Snapdragon 875, and this is the Snapdragon 888. Now, I know on paper they're different. I know on paper the 888 does a lot better, in many benchmarks, synthetic, benchmarks and all that stuff. But I have to tell you this much. I was doing exactly the same thing on the Zenfone 8 that I was doing on the G100, and I could see the overheating problems on the Snapdragon 888 in the Zenfone 8. In real life, you're not going to feel any kind of difference, and call me crazy, but I'm going to have to give this point to the Moto G100 with the 875. It's the much better choice, the much reasonable choice. It's not as, I call the 888 experimental, highly experimental, because again, I saw it here and I saw it on the Xiaomi Mi 11. They both had the same problem, overheating, performance throttling, a lot of issues, a lot of problems. Unless they can do something to mitigate these issues, I really give this point to the G100. So we got 3 points Moto to 2 points Asus. And then we move on to battery life. I'm not going to go into why battery life on the Zenfone 8 really sucks. Just going to give the point to the Moto G100. You can do your research. It has a 5,000 mAh battery versus a 4,000 mAh battery, where this 4,000 mAh battery on the Zenfone 8 should have done much better than this one because of the screen size, because it's AMOLED, because I'm using dark theme, and because, but it's not. It's really crappy. You only get about 4 hours and 30 minutes screen on time, maybe 5 hours if you're really, really careful, while I'm getting about 6 hours with this one. And I'm not joking here. I can play media, I can play my games, and I still got about 30-40% at the end of the day left. I only had about 20 or 10 with the Zenfone 8. And it's a smaller screen, and you would expect it to do much better. It just doesn't. So yeah, it's now 4 points to the Moto and just 2 points to the Asus. Now the build quality. Obviously the build quality goes to Asus, right? I'm not going to go into details. This is plastic. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I found this device and this case in a bag of Doritos, I would really be appalled at the poor quality of devices they put in bags of Doritos, right? So it's bad even for something you find in a bag of Doritos. This is supposed to be a joke, but it's it's that bad. It's like, it's gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. The design is good, but you can fold a piece of toilet paper and make it look good, just like they did with the box on the Asus Zenfone 8. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be durable. It doesn't mean it's going to be, you know, nice to hold in a hand and nice to have and nice to look at, right? Again, this is nice to look at, but it's not durable. It's not the materials are just not there. I don't understand why Motorola just doesn't step up its game with the materials, right? The build materials. They could use some aluminum. They could use whatever, you know, just not all of this plastic, and it's like a toy, right? And so I'm gonna have to give build quality to Asus. We got 4 points Moto, 3 points Asus. And then the final thing is the price, and this is the most important thing to me because I'm looking for exotic devices. That means devices that do a lot of stuff for very little money. So the so-called flagship killers, and in that department I'm going to have to definitely give this to the Moto, even though it's a joke in the build quality, like I told you before. It does have great design. You know, build quality and design are two different things, and I really must stress on that because I really like the design here. Just don't like the materials, the build quality, you know. So the price goes to the Moto because I only paid 400 euros on this one, and I paid $1,000 for this one. So this is like, this was about $500 and this was $1,000. And I have the receipts for both. You know, I bought them at authorized certified retailers here in my country. It's all in my previous videos about the Zenfone 8. So if you pay $1,000 for a Zenfone 8, as long as this device gets to me for $1,000, I expect it to do a little bit more than this one, right? And it doesn't. It really just doesn't, you know. In real day life, if you don't care about the build quality and if you don't care about having a display like this, it's just not going to cut it. So we finally have a score of 5 points for the Moto G100 to only 3 points for the Zenfone 8. Again, this is not to say they're not exotic devices. They're very exotic devices. They're very nice. You get a lot for what you're paying. You're just getting a little bit more, in my opinion, in my honest opinion, you're getting a little bit more with the G100 than you would get with the Asus Zenfone 8 for what you pay, for the amount you pay. But like I said in previous videos, if you can get this one for like $500 now, go get this one, right? You know, it's got the screen, it's got the, but then again, you're going to have to live with the fingerprint sensor, you're going to have to live with the overheating. It's your call, right? For me, at this point, I'm using both of them, and I can definitely use both of them. Sometimes I'm using this one because it's larger, I get to write my emails a little bit better. But then, if you need more portability, you're going to go with the Zenfone 8. Even though this is a lot thicker, I don't know exactly why, but it is a lot thicker than the Moto G100. I don't know. This is my honest opinion. I can use both of them. I don't disregard any of them. I just told you exactly what I hate about one, what I hate about the other, what I love about one, and what I love about the other, right? Hit me up in the comments with whatever you think about these two devices. And I'm going to come back with more impressions on the G100 as I keep using it throughout the summer. And I'll catch you in the next clip. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.